What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about web components. So, firstly, you're going to ask me what are web components. You're not going to ask, but I'm going to tell you, what web components are. So, basically, I'll tell you that question by telling you a story. 1999, Tim Berners-Lee invented so-called HTML, right? So, he did not at the time think it would go on to be such a big story, such a big thing. In 1989, he created the primary focus of the internet at that time used to be sharing files, right? So how the HTML, like as when the HTML was developed, like they put more emphasis on tags, like there were like basic HTML tag, and then there was UL, LI tags, emphasis on list tags, so people could list the files that they had, right? And for like 2 to 3 years almost, the internet was just these basic text tags. There are a lot of websites that you can actually see from that time that are just HTML, like text. It was, I think, in 1982, Kim Anderson and team, excuse me, it's late today, proposed the idea of an image tag. And like soon enough that image tag was implemented because it was thought, yeah, it is a great addition to the HTML language, and having image tag would really help people put their thoughts into HTML or visualize their thoughts better. That's actually what's web component. Web components are, now we can't really go to the HTML3 committee and say like we want a new HTML tag right now, right? We can't do that. But what we can do is using custom elements, something that JavaScript provides, shadow DOM, something that JavaScript enables us to do, and using HTML templates, we can actually, for all practical purposes, create our own tags. We have seen that for a lot of files, like a lot of such tags have been implemented, but web components is basically formalization of how you can do that, so that there is a unified way of how these are developed and shared, so to promote reusability, right? It has been a thing for quite a while now, but I think 2019 would be the year where it's actually catches up. People actually start developing. Like I would say, last 2 years have been just with the coming of ECMA, like 2015. After the ECMA 2015, last 2 years, like 15, 16, I won't talk about. 17 and 18 is where I was consciously working on the web. It's like Angular came into the picture, React came into the picture, but they really brought amazing formalization to how websites were developed, how single page applications are developed. Now slowly, like if we do remember 2015, I think was the time when our waterfall model broke down into agile model, right? We saw that how managerial point of view of how software is developed broke down, how instead of a monolith we started now having microservices, and now we see that transition also happening on our front ends also. We talk about having micro front ends, micro, like exposing of front ends as the services. We have like those concepts are also surfacing right now. And web component, like this web has been, of course, these guys have leveraged a lot from learnings, not just from the web but from previous history, how how kingdoms were made, so to say, how Rome was built. Anyway, so web components could be a thing that could be, in 2019 we could see a huge change in the amount of people that use web components, the amount of people that create web components, how the community works around this right now. So, what I would be doing today, tomorrow, and for this week, there are a lot of ways you can make a web component, and the most basic way is using native, like these three main technologies that are listed right in front of you on the MST page, Mozilla page. Like natively, we could build a web component, right? It's just HTML, CSS. Or we could use something that these Polymer guys developed, Polymer project. So Polymer project, I think it's funded by Google, lets you front-ends in this home team, make the web by web components. Yeah. So this helps you build web components. They provide you like the polyfill, how you can do single page application, but they do provide you one of the most easy and maybe one of the earlier people who started providing support for building web components. So this is one way of building web components. Like I think it's one of the simplest in terms of how it looks, how easy it is to get started. Then we have something like, of course, not is abstract. Then we have Polymer. Then we have also Angular came with Angular elements. So one of Angular elements is a package that again lets you export the components that you create in Angular as web components so that you can use it in. So the idea of web components here would be, if you make such components here, you like right now it's a copy pasting of big chunks from a theme that you've picked up or whatever you've picked up, and it's stupid. Like you look for themes that were written in first Angular, you don't find them, then you see, okay, this is like raw HTML written with bootstrap, then you copy like huge chunks of HTML. That's stupid. Anyway, so Angular elements is the third way that provides where you can create elements. It's kind of theory how elements work, but basically the yeah, Angular elements then. And the last, not the last way, one of the very popular way these days is Stencil.js. Stencil.js is again one of the most prominent right now, I would say, way of creating web components. So what I would be doing again today, tomorrow, and for this week probably, I would be creating a few web components. First, using native approach, like whatever I find from here, so that we have a basics clear. Next, I'll move on to creating a couple of components using Polymer HTML. I think there are more than one ways of creating web components using Polymer. Like there's this lit element library, and I think there is another. I might be wrong over here. After that, I'll move on to creating a few components using Angular. And then finally, I'll be using Stencil to create a few of the components. And at the end, and also, if we are doing this journey by leave React behind, we also would try to use React to build web components. Must be a thing, right? Yeah, web components, React, customer name. I'll see. I'll see. So whatever, like these 3-4 ways of creating web components, so that we can conclude properly what is the best way of creating web components. We would reuse them and see. So for a fact that web component specifications also tell you that they have this life cycle, right? Let's go to living standard. So we'll finally conclude what is the best way of doing web components. Cool. Now, what shall we make a component for? Any ideas, people? Leave it down wherever you can. Let me know. I have a few running ideas, but none of them, just snaps right there that, yeah, that's the one. So, you might not like it, but the web component we'll be making probably in these tutorial series would be something that I think it'll be fine. We'll connect Firebase to it so that it's not just a dead blob. It connects, transmits information or something. It connects to Firebase, like has that uplink downlink thingy. It records data, and the best form of recording data is not the best way, but right now, because we're building a web component, we would want it to surface at different pages, like someone's app, someone there. So it should be more like a survey kind of a thing, right? Questions. So it's a web component where one question that you want to ask, you provide it with it sends that information up, right? It's a small question web component, or what do you call, um, user interaction web component. It comes with, now hear me right, because this might make it interesting. It comes with, let's actually build it and then promise things, but till we reach strengths with the things that I would want to achieve from it would be that yes, it of course records data. It is able to mutate between, like, no, maybe like option select, date picker, or like different forms of input. Like if the question is in form of multi selected, it should be capable of those things. It should also be capable of doing like a text to speech kind of a thingy, so that right. So it's more, it's possible to get more data. Like people are more likely to actually respond to server that interacts with you. Have like multilingual support, so that like I18 standards we build it into the web component, right? It takes that as an input. Maybe that's a good idea, right? Yeah. So it's a question component that you supply a question to. Cool. Time to get to building.